You're listening to The Sports Moment, January 26th, 2024. Part of the Sports Moments and Memories with Craig Olson podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a sports moment. Sponsored by Pemberton Law and Lake Area Docks and Lifts.
Lake Area Docks and Lifts, more than just docks and lifts. Lake Area Docks and Lifts.
A much-needed win for the Fergus Falls boys basketball team. Highlights our podcast to start with on this Friday as the Otters snapped out of a 6-game losing skid by beating Wilmer 76-63 on the road last night. Good Central Lakes Conference win. Got off to a terrible start, though. The Otters were down 11 at halftime. They had 11 turnovers, were not playing well at all. And then, tale of two halves, second half, they looked great. The Otters had only 2 turnovers over the final 18 minutes. Henry Bethel, who was stifled in the first half with only 4 points and turned the ball over multiple times, had a tremendous second half. Henry scored 24 second-half points, equaling the total that Wilmer put on the board in the second half, and he wound up with a game-high 28 points to lead the Otters to the victory. Ryan Hurst, who has really been steady inside for the Otters, had 17 points and 13 rebounds in that victory last night. How about Cale Missegatis for Henning? Missegatis had 35 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, as the Hornets won for a 9th consecutive time. They shot 55% from the floor as a team in a 69-53 win over Pillager. Barnesville won 76-58 over Crookston. Frazee beat Breckenridge 55-38. DGF over Perham 59-55. Timmy Guler scored 20 for Pelican Rapids as they got a Heart of Lakes Conference win at Hawley 76-71. Brevin Stowa had 29 to lead the Nuggets. And Underwood, Noah Lake, lighting it up from beyond the arc. 7 threes last night. Noah had 23 points in the game. Gavin Pausch with a solid floor game, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and the Rockets win 68-63 over Sabika. In girls basketball last night, it was Ella Knutson with a double-double for Hillcrest, 10 points, 11 rebounds. She also had 5 steals. And Elsa Retzloff just missed a double-double with 14 points and 9 boards. Hillcrest wins over Ashby 48-16. Pillager defeated Henning in girls basketball 57-49. Hancock continues to roll on. They handled Battle Lake 78-40. Wheaton Herman Norcross won in overtime at Parker's Prairie 64-59. Underwood allowed only 7 second-half points in their 68-23 win over Rothsay. Liz Lucken, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. And Callan Grove, a double-double with 11 points, 10 rebounds. She also added 4 blocked shots. Brandon Evansville got 27 from Mia Elmer as they beat Clinton Graceville Beardsley 73-70. Paynesville dropped West Central area 60-54, and it was Wadena Deer Creek in overtime over New York Mills 53-50. It was senior night at the Kennedy Secondary School pool last night as the Otters hosted Sauk Rapids Rice, honoring their 4 seniors, Logan Rott, Adrian Blondeau, the 2 captains, diver Will Nuss, and Mason Braun, all honored at that senior night duel last night. It was Sauk Rapids Rice winning 98-87, and the Sauk Rapids Rice team broke 2 pool records last night, the 200 medley relay and diving, and that makes 5 pool records that have fallen this week. Micah Davis of Tech Cathedral, Ricori Becker broke 3 pool records during the meet on Tuesday. That was the final duel of the season at home for the Otters, and they'll have their last dual meet of the year coming up Thursday at Sartell. I want to remind you, too, that this weekend, Lake Area Docks and Lifts is going to be present at the Fargo Dome Boat Show, getting ready for spring and summer, with some boat show discounts available as well. You should check it out. Lake Area Docks and Lifts serving you from 5 locations across Lakes area.
Lake Area Docks and Lifts, more than just docks and lifts. Lake Area
The Vasaloppet Center in Mora is where the Otter Nordic ski team performed yesterday, and they had a good day as they were competing against section teams in a format that they'll be using at the section and state meet, which consists of a pursuit race and a classic sprint relay. And the boys, the Nordic ski team, had a great day as David Ronovic wound up continuing his Section 8 dominance. He won the classic race by almost 2 minutes. In the skate race, David placed second, about 6 seconds behind Brainerd's Gabe Hallgren, but his combined time was more than enough to secure a first place victory. So a nice job by David Ronovic. And the girls had their best combined race of the season. The format and distances were the same as the boys' race, and they got it done. Estee Versteeg and Alexis Wellman have been going back and forth leading the Otters all season. It was Estee's turn yesterday. Both girls have been chasing down Alexandria's Jalen Miller, who's an excellent skier and all-around athlete. And after the classic race, Estee was just 0.2 of a second behind Jalen. Estee turned it on in the afternoon skate race, finishing 14 seconds ahead of Miller and took 4th place. Alexis was not far behind in 10th place, and Sarah Grotberg also scored for the girls, finishing 16th. Ellie Bradenberg and Cassie Wellman competed together in the classic sprint relay, and with a combined score of 366 points, the girls tied for second with Brainerd, but Brainerd won the tiebreakers. So great performance for the Nordic ski teams at the Vasaloppet Center in Mora yesterday. And it was a busy Thursday on the local front, as you can tell from all of that was going on. Pemberton Law is one of our sponsors on the podcast, and they serve you from offices in Fergus Falls, Wadena, Detroit Lakes, and Alexandria, as well as online at pemlaw.com. Pemberton Law, carrying a legacy of trustworthy and reputable legal representation dating back to 1883. The Minnesota Timberwolves made it back-to-back road wins last night. They beat the Brooklyn Nets 96-94. Karl Anthony Towns scored 27 points. Anthony Edwards added 24. And the Western Conference leading Minnesota Timberwolves held on for that 2-point win over Brooklyn. 96-94 was the final. And the Wolves are now a half game up on Oklahoma City and a game and a half ahead of Denver in the Western Conference standings. They will continue their road trip. They visit Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow night, trying to keep things going in a positive direction. LeBron James became the first player to be named to 20 All-Star teams in the NBA when he was selected for the Western Conference as part of the league's unveiling of the 10 starters for next month's All-Star game in Indianapolis. James, who passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most All-Star nods in NBA history, was joined in the West starting five by Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic, Phoenix Suns forward Kevin Durant, Dallas Mavericks guard Luka Doncic, and Oklahoma City Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. In the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo led the voting and was joined by Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid, Boston Celtics forward Jason Tatum, Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton, and Bucks guard Damian Lillard. The reserves for the All-Star game will be named on February 1st, but you got to think some Timberwolves players going to be in there with the season Anthony Edwards is having for sure. Karl Anthony Towns certainly getting consideration, and Rudy Gobert too. So we'll see how many, if any, are elected to the roster. Got to think there's going to be a Timberwolves presence for sure. And the Wild got beat by the Predators last night. Nashville outscored the Wild at 3-1 in the third period, came from behind to win 3-2. Joel Eriksson-Ek opened the scoring midway through the second period on the power play. He has goals in 3 straight games now, and he ran his point streak to 6 games, during which he has 6 goals and 5 assists. The Wild will host Anaheim in their next game on Saturday. And the NFL coaching carousel has started to turn. The Falcons are going back to their past to try to solidify their future. Atlanta hired Raheem Morris as its coach on Thursday, making him the first former NFL head coach that owner Arthur Blank has hired in his 20-plus year tenure. He is also the first full-time black head coach in the franchise's history. Morris's hire comes after an extensive search that featured 14 candidates, including former New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick, ex-Tennessee Titans coach Mike Vrabel, and former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh, who was hired Wednesday by the Los Angeles Chargers. Morris was one of 4 coaches who had second interviews with the club. They decided to not go with Bill Belichick, who they interviewed first, and to go with Morris. This is his second stint as a full-time NFL head coach, having previously led Tampa Bay from 2009 through 2011. He then went to Washington as a defensive backs coach from 2012 to 2014, before his first stint with the Falcons, serving as a defensive pass game coordinator in 2015, and then a receivers coach from 2016 to 2019, while also being Atlanta's assistant head coach. He was named the Falcons' defensive coordinator in 2020 and was promoted to interim head coach after the head coach was fired. So he's been familiar with the organization. They're familiar with him, and that is the move. Raheem Morris, the new coach in Atlanta. NFL playoffs, of course. On Sunday, the conference championships, the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. Ravens are 3.5-point favorites going into that one. And the San Francisco 49ers at home against the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship. The Niners are 10.5-point favorites in that one. And that'll do it for our podcast today. Hope you had a great week and are looking forward to a great weekend. And we'll talk to you again on Monday.
You've been listening to The Sports Moment with Craig Olson. Sponsored by Pemberton Law and Lake Area Docks and Lifts. Produced by Sunroom Lab. Music by Blue Red Roses. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and thanks for listening.